Live. WECT News begins now with breaking news.
I am pleased to come before the public and announce the capture of Matthew Edward Dolan. Matthew Dolan was located in Chardon, Ohio, and has been taken into custody by the Geauga County Sheriff's Office.
A man accused of killing his own sister now in custody.
Found and arrested more than 700 miles from home and from the scene of the crime in Pender County.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for staying up with us. I'm Frances Weller.
I'm John Evans. Authorities in Cleveland, or near Cleveland, Ohio, have arrested 23-year-old Matthew Dolan. He's the man investigators wanted for the murder of his sister, Megan Dolan.
Crews found her body inside their family home in Hampstead that caught fire Sunday night. WECT's Emma Dolan has spoken with investigators about the case. Emma, they say Dolan's arrest means there is no longer a threat to the public.
Yeah, that's right, Fran. Authorities arrested Dolan in Chardon, Ohio. They plan to bring him back to Pender County to face the murder charge. I went into the neighborhood in Hampstead where the family lived. As you can imagine, it's hard for people there to believe it happened. It shocked people along Masters Lane in Hampstead to learn the news. After battling a fire at this home Sunday night, crews found a body inside and determined someone had killed 21-year-old Megan Dolan. The shock got worse when they learned Megan's brother Matthew is the prime suspect.
I was just like, wow, in my neighborhood? Really? You don't ever see that.
James Bond has lived in the Greenway Plantation neighborhood in Hampstead for over a decade.
You don't think about your neighbors as being like that in this neighborhood. Everybody is genuinely friendly.
Investigators believe Megan Dolan was killed before the fire began, leading investigators to believe the fire and killing are related. Hours after naming Matthew Dolan as a suspect and warning the public about him came the update.
I am pleased to come before the public and announce the capture of Matthew Edward Dolan. Matthew Dolan was located in Chardon, Ohio, and has been taken into custody by the Geauga County Sheriff's Office.
Relief for both law enforcement and neighbors on Masters Lane who call the situation tragic.
Please continue to keep this family in your thoughts and in your prayers.
And I thought, well, maybe it's a simple fire, but it ended up being where the person that lives in the house lost their life in the fire.
District Attorney Ben David told us tonight they will work to bring Matthew Dolan back to Pender County as quickly as possible to face a first-degree murder charge. Fran, we did reach out to the Geauga County Sheriff's Office to get information about Matthew Dolan's arrest, and we're waiting to hear back with those details.
All right. Thanks so much, Emma.
Well,